Hey everybody, it's Jonathan Bolano with Bolano Home over at HomeSpot Professionals. I am here with Jimmy Murray of CashFlowKings and Lyon Property Management. How are we doing today, Jimmy?
What's up, guys?
We're definitely being safe right now. We got our toilet paper boundary line right here, so just keep that social distancing in place, right?
And if John gets too close, then we're gonna move this divider. We're gonna put it right in between us, so you guys can have a split screen on the video. So
I appreciate that. But today we're gonna be talking to you guys about investing. Mostly first-time home buyers looking to get into investing, whether you want to make this a career thing where you build up a portfolio, or this is just going to be a one and done type of scenario. Jimmy's going to kind of shed some light on some of the things, the factors that you should be focused on in order to make wise decisions and not just think that every opportunity is an opportunity, right? Because that's one of the things we're facing in this market is...
Absolutely. So I got my start in multifamily real estate in 2012. My first purchase was a 4-unit multifamily in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And I house hacked. So house hacking is a term when you buy an income producing property and you live in it. So I always joke with folks, never to buy a 2-family, maybe buy a 3, but always target that 4.
Right.
And the reason is it sets you up for financial success. So in my experience in our local market, if you buy a 2, that rent is gonna offset some of the monthly expenses with the mortgage and everything else that you're gonna face as a landlord. That 3-family, you should be able to buy it and live for free based off the cash flow. So have all of your expenses paid. And that 4-family, you should get paid to live there if you buy it correctly. Now this market's a little bit hotter, but if you stay focused on those 3 and 4 families, that's gonna set you up for success financially because it'll generate more income. It'll provide that nest egg years down the road. But then when you have a single family and you move out, some of that new rental income could pay for that mortgage on your single family. So it really sets your family up for success.
That's awesome. So when it comes to finding these deals, what are some of the, let's say, top 3 things that you're focused on when looking at these properties?
Yep.
To pick them out?
Number 1 is infrastructure. So when I'm talking about infrastructure, it's roofing, electrical, plumbing, heating systems. So a lot of people go through and they like the nice multifamilies with the granite that are well painted. Don't pay attention to that stuff. That's all stuff that you can fix as a weekend warrior.
Right.
Candidly, like when I bought my first property, I spent every single weekend working on that multifamily. And honestly, guys, I didn't have a clue. I had a degree in finance and I had to YouTube my way through it. So
I know the feeling.
Right? So even
mind.
with my degree in finance, I didn't take a single real estate class. The way that I learned real estate and investing was from YouTube and Bigger Pockets. And then I'm going to put in a selfless plug, listen to Bolano home videos or dial into the CashFlowKings podcast.
Right.
You guys can learn a tremendous amount for free. You don't have to spend money on education.
Right. Yeah, when I bought my first couple of properties, that's what I ended up having to do as well, fixing water tanks, pipes, so on and so forth, electricity. So when you're going through and you walk up to these properties, what are some of the things that you're looking for right when you walk in? You walk into the first floor, you said you look for plumbing, electric. Is there anything in particular outside of that you're focused on as far as square footage, number of bedrooms, or do those things not matter to you?
Absolutely. So when you're buying a multifamily property, what I tell all investors is that if you can add, subtract, and divide, you can be a multifamily investor. It is that simple. Arithmetic that we learned probably 2nd or 3rd grade. Right? So you're going to add up the rents, back out the expenses, and divide by your expected rate of return, and that's how easy it is. So related to that, bedroom dynamic is really important. So as you're going through and you're going through all the units, if you're looking at 1-bedrooms, you're probably going to have higher vacancy expense. If you're looking at 3-bedrooms, you're probably going to get families that are going to live there for a longer period of time, and then you really got to pay attention to lead certificates. Mm-hmm. Those are some of the really important things. My favorite type of building to buy is one that is under market rent. So an example of that, the second multifamily that I bought is in Lincoln, Rhode Island. Is a 4-family. All the rents were $500 per month, no utilities included. I was able to come in there off the rip. I got all the rents up to $800. I only had one tenant that stayed. I had to invest roughly $7,000 in CapEx. I did all the painting myself, but legitimately just painted the units. When the other tenants moved out, cleaned them, got the rent to $800. It was that simple. Most of the time, if you don't want to be aggressive in that $500 to $800 increase, and this is an example on 1-bedroom guys, if you increase the rent to just below market, most folks won't move.
Right.
Renters know when they're getting a good deal. So don't feel like you're being that bad landlord. You're protecting your investment. Buying a multifamily is a business. You need to pay attention to your income and expenses and manage it as a business owner would.
Right. Now, when you are going through the expenses, and I know that you had your initial formula that you used in order to determine, is this a good property to purchase? when it comes to running your expenses after you purchase the property, what are some of the things that you're putting aside? I know you mentioned CapEx, but I know there's a vacancy, there's repairs.
Yep.
What are some of the things that you focus on as far as the most important ones that people should be also putting in there?
Definitely. I would say build a schedule, right? So if you go through and the home inspector tells you the roof has 10 more years, figure out what a roof costs in your area. If it's $10,000 to put that roof on in 10 years, start saving $1,000 annually. So when you have that roof expense, it's paid for. The same thing. If you have 3 or 4 hot water tanks, figure out the useful life on those hot water tanks. Now there's a hack to get your hot water tanks to last a lot longer, and it's really simple, and we can talk about that maybe in a separate video. But if you have 3 new hot water tanks within the last year, start saving. A new hot water tank's probably going to cost you $1,000. Start saving and putting that money away. If you know that you're going to need it in 10 years, save $100 a year. So you have that reserve. So when things happen, you can pay for it. But also this is a part of taking care of your tenants. Because if things start happening, the roof is leaking, you're not able to fix it, you're going to lose your great tenants, and you're going to lose those market rents that allow you to generate the return on investment that you banked on when you bought the property. So it's really important to build that capital expenditure schedule.
That's pretty cool. So for those of you that are listening that don't understand what that might look like, it's something as simple as maybe Excel.
Right.
And putting down all those major numbers. One of the phrases I like to use all the time is preach. So that's your plumbing, your God, I'm forgetting all the words, but
no,
it's
this
the
is good. You caught my
appliances,
attention now. Yeah.
Cooling, heating. Oh, R is roof, and then there's there's a few other letters as well. But to make things nice and simple,
Yeah. Plumbing, roof, electrical.
appliances, cooling, heating.
I love that.
And then, I stole that from my friend Jessica Correa.
I'm
Who's
stealing that
This is her plug right here from America's Preferred Home Warranty.
Awesome.
She uses that.
Awesome.
It's cool to put those into an Excel sheet and figure out. I mean, you can use Excel really easily in order to calculate all that out for you and start putting that in there when you're getting your rents and you're taking that money and putting it aside for that rainy day, I guess you could say.
So one misconception as we're talking about owner-occupied multifamilies, people think more tenants, more problems. And I know Biggie Smalls talks about more money, more problems.
You love quoting.
Honestly, yeah, so you guys will always hear me quote Conor McGregor and Notorious B.I.G.
I think you did that last time too.
So huge fan of Notorious B.I.G. And actually, Jonathan came in earlier as I was blasting some of his tunes. So one of the big things, one of the common misnomers in buying multifamily real estate is the more tenants you have, the more issues you have. But I'm going to tell you that the more tenants you have, the more protection you have. If you have that 2-family property and you're living in one unit and that upstairs tenant moves out, there goes all of your cash flow. If you have a 4-family and one of 3 tenants move out, you still have 2 units producing cash flow to help you pay your bills.
So going from there, because we really went into the weeds on the fund side, I want to talk about finding renters and finding good people, and if they come with pets, what kind of pets, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely.
What's some of the things that you try to focus on or that you would recommend people focus on when thinking about getting good tenants?
Yeah, so honestly, guys, marketing is so easy nowadays. Like with the advent of technology, I know this kind of makes me sound a little bit older, but with the advent of rental technology, you can go out to a Cozy or a Zillow rental manager and you can post to 40+ rental websites for free. Mm-hmm. If you do it correctly, you take enough photos, write a very clean description, your listing is going to explode. You're going to get hundreds of leads a week. And I know that kind of sounds crazy, but if you do it right, your phone will legitimately explode. The second step, and this is where people get hung up, you have to have an application and you have to run a screening. You want a credit, eviction, and background check. Cozy.co is going to help you with that. It's baked in. There are other websites like TransUnion, My Smart Move, and you can have folks go out and go through that screening, and that's going to protect your investment. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, why do I have to pay an application fee? And I tell them that it's for their protection and security as well as the others in the building, so that they have the peace of mind to know that everyone who comes through, everyone who lives in that property is going to go through the same thorough screening.
Right.
It's a form of security and protection and peace of mind throughout the duration of their tenancy living in that building.
Now, that's great. So those are good points for the person that's just going to buy your first investment. But let's say that you want to make this a career thing, and now you get to the point where you can't handle it anymore. What's usually that number of units? Because we like to calculate off of that. What's the number of units before you start thinking about property management group? And here's your own little moment for a plug.
Definitely. So I always talk about 10 units. I think it's really important for someone who purchases multifamily investments to understand the pain of being a property manager. It's really a thankless job. I recognize that I kind of have jaded lenses, But I think that if you can live through the pain of knowing the tenant issues that you face and rent collections and maintenance and handling the entire process soup to nuts, that is going to allow you to more effectively work with a property manager. Now, if you say, hey, I'm super busy, I work 70, 80 hours a week, real estate's something that I really want to start investing in, and I never want to deal with tenants, and that's your approach, when you buy that first multifamily, you can work with a property manager. That's your own take. But I would say you have to recognize that your property manager is your cash flow partner, right? They're going to be your cash flow consultant. Don't talk down to your property manager, work with them arm in arm, and that's what's going to lead to your success. Recognize that they are an established expert in what they do, and you can work through screening. You should interview, I would say, 3 to 5 property managers before you hire one, because not every property manager is going to share the same investment philosophy as you do. So you have to make sure as you're going through that screening, don't focus as much on pricing. Pricing is an important component to some extent, but you want to make sure that they share that same investment philosophy to make sure they're taking care of the investment property as you see fit.
Yeah, and we talk about stuff like that in all of our other videos as well, where relationships matter, and relationships is where you want to start. And then after the relationship, we can start talking business and kind of go from there. So that's something that Bolano Home works to on a regular basis as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps all that up as far as like the investment side goes. Anything else that you'd like to throw in there that you think is important that people should be aware of?
Stay constantly educated. So whether it's joining Facebook groups of folks talking about real estate, listening to podcasts, or reading books, always stay up on current news and current trends, because in this business, there's always ways or tips and tricks to figure out how to get better.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. As always, subscribe, like, comment, share, the whole 9. Leave us some of your thoughts below, so that way we can probably do more videos in the future and kind of answer those things periodically. What else is there? Yeah, no, Jimmy, thank you. We'll do something real quick, just safety first. But thank you once again for joining. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Jonathan Bolano, home over at Home Smart Professionals. Jimmy Murray, CashFlowKings, and Lyon Property Management. Y'all have a good, safe day.